Hello, everyone. I'm Richard Herskowitz, the Artistic Director of AIFF, and this is the preview night for World Film Week that AIFF does every year. Actually, most years we do this at the Varsity Theater, but for the second year in a row, this is going to be a virtual World Film Week, except for one exception. We are running for 2 weeks from September 17th to 30th on our Inventive Film channel, but on September 18th, that is the second day of World Film Week, we are going to do a live and outdoors event at the Lithia Park Butler Bandshell. So I'll tell you more about that later on. So our theme this year is see the world from where you are. And well, for those of you who, like me, have been cooped up for the last couple of years and unable to travel, this festival is your therapy. We have 14 films from 15 different countries, including Malawi and Ethiopia, Israel, Kosovo, France, Belgium, Norway, Malta, Dominican Republic, and the USA, among others. It's evenly split, 7 narrative features and 7 documentary features, half directed by women directors. Well, let's start the preview presentation, and I'm going to start with a film that is, again, therapy for all of us who have been locked down. It's from France. It's called Roaring Twenties, and the film is similar to Richard Linklater's Slacker, which many of you may have seen. This one is a series of encounters with 34 different characters in conversation. But here the location is Paris, not Austin, Texas, and all the encounters are filmed in one continuous, unbroken 90-minute shot. And so let's take a look.
La période que tu vis en ce moment, c'est un bouleversement pour toi.
Excuse-moi, c'est pas toi, Julie? Toi, tu regardes jamais de porno?
Si.
Tu étais à 3 mètres, lueur qui se prélasse.
Mais toi, tu veux parler art? Mais vas-y, dis-moi, dans la vraie vie des gens, il y a quoi d'autre?
Tu veux pas parler?
Non.
Ma vie, c'est une cascade, mon frère. Ma vie, c'est une cascade.
Même seul chez moi, je mets le masque. Je préfère.
Moi, j'avoue, je jouis quand je suis toute seule, quand je me sens hyper en sécurité, je me touche.
50 étés, mec. Il nous reste 50 étés.
Okay, so that film, I should say, is just a tour de force of choreography of both the camera and the actors, and you're going to leave it feeling exhilarated by what cinema can do. We have a number of social issue documentaries, as always in our festival, and the opening film is actually from the great Kartemquin Films, whom we honored a few years ago. The film is called The Ants and the Grasshopper, and it's a portrait of an amazing woman from Malawi, Anita Chitaya. She's fighting for gender equality in her village, and she's fighting to also revive the soil in her village that's being destroyed by drought. She asked the filmmakers of the film if she could come to the US to try to persuade people that climate change is real. The co-director of the film is Raj Patel, the author of several books and many articles on the world food system and on colonialism. And Raj will tell us the story of the making of the film and how Anita kind of changed the direction of the film in the Q&A that I will have with him at the end of the screening. Many of the films will have Q&As, by the way. Another documentary we're showing is called Stateless, and it's also a portrait of a Black woman activist, a Dominican of Haitian descent. Rosa Iris is a lawyer who is one of the people who have been rendered stateless by a racist decision from the Dominican Supreme Court that stripped the citizenship of any Dominicans with Haitian parents, retroactive to 1929. Rosa is a dynamo, and we follow her grassroots campaign for office and her advocacy for Black Dominicans. The film is produced by the National Film Board of Canada, and if you know NFB films, the production values are just extraordinary. It has beautiful cinematography with rich colors, has an interesting mix of documentary and magical realism. The director, Michelle Stevenson, comes from a Haitian and Latinx background, and she brings a passionate subjectivity to the subject matter. Next, we have Daughter of a Lost Bird. And the filmmaker of this film, Brooke Peplin, is a Native woman, a member of the Blackfeet Nation, and her film was partially shot in Oregon. She had been working with an actress who she made a narrative film with named Kendra Potter, who was born Native American as well. But Kendra was adopted by white parents, and she had no idea what her Native background was. Brooke decided to make this film about Kendra and her recapturing of her Native American roots. Kendra's story opens up a much larger issue of transracial adoption and its impact on Native American people. In the course of this movie, Kendra and her Native American mother reconnect with each other and the Lummi Nation of the Pacific Northwest, from which they were both disconnected. Let's look at the trailer.
When I was adopted, the agency had said to her, be careful. If someone saw her and was like, that's a Native baby, you're white, you shouldn't have her. Okay, now I want to take you and your mom. She was terrified someone was going to try to take me.
There's no resource more important to the continued existence of American Indian tribes than their children.
Between 25 and 35% of all American Indian children are removed from their families.
It has been called by some cultural genocide.
We were just desperate to have a family.
It's hard to feel like there's any history behind America.
Hi, April, this is Kendra Potter, your birth daughter. I don't know if leaving a voicemail is too weird.
Hi. Hi.
I was afraid that I would create more questions for her than provide answers. I'm so far from who that was, and I'm so grateful you weren't a part of any of that. It's taken a long time for me to believe that I belong places.
There's this desire to be recognized as Native, but what is Native anymore?
When someone says, you're Lummi, it's very hard for me. I can't wrap my mind around it. I don't know what that means.
Don't be ashamed who you are now. Your ancestors are here. They led you here.
I want to say about that film that Kendra's birth mother still lives in Portland, and much of the film was shot in Oregon. The next film, Faya Dai, I usually don't like to state my favorites, but I will say that this is my personal favorite of films in the festival this year. And I have to tell you, it's the most experimental. It's shot in black and white and with a sculpting of light and shadow that is absolutely breathtaking. The filmmaker, who's also the cinematographer, Jessica Bashir, is a Mexican-Ethiopian woman who escaped Ethiopia as a teenager. She returned to her village and began filming in 2011 and started to explore the rise of an economy built around a hallucinogenic, illegal cash crop called khat. Here's the trailer.
ألا هو كتيبة أعوذ الكلين يلو يزال أمير النار الله قافي النار إبادة وزو اللزو ما توكس كفوين بوء اللام زي توكس هيو سماما جاما تبقى لليو إيجادو إيزي كاما زال بسو كدام كتب يا جازال نت بايما أحادي بوبل
كم مكفر لتك أعمل كم تسوهال هنقول لزيني حمي بيلو كم أهلي ذاتو يد أهلي نسال أو خذاتي تاوخا هاي خذات هايخا أبي كتن قل لي فارغ ديو
نقناتيتو والله لوتي وزوري بقرته سرنان وانت كانوا جنة بيشو يانا ميتوا
نسمع متنو كنا أما يون وان كوسا نجيني كرو كوسا رمتين نعم زوج إنستمنت وأيضا مديرة
أنا غشازخ بلا يداي يشو مزرب باتاي تنسيما باتاي مريد أسكشو يرس بازا غتاي
I want to say that this film, Fayadai, resonates with the ants and the grasshopper because it's another story of the effect of climate change on Africa, because it's been the devastation of other crops by drought that has contributed to the rise of khat. The film is a knockout, and it has a hallucinogenic quality that seems to come from the khat itself. A Little Girl is a documentary from France. I've seen several films over the past few years about children with gender dysphoria or become transgender, but this is one of the most powerful. It follows 7-year-old Sasha, who was born a boy but knows that she is a girl. It zeroes in on Sasha and her mother, who's fighting for her child to be recognized as a girl in her local French village school. The film is made with such powerful empathy, filmed at a child's eye level, so you experience the world from Sasha's point of view. You're going to feel so outraged by the obstacles the school creates for her, and so inspired by the strength of Sasha's family in standing up for her. Now, we don't just have social issue documentaries. I want to turn now to 3 comedic narratives, beginning with this one, Ninja Baby from Norway. This is one of the most transgressive, irreverent films I've seen in a long time, and I think you'll see what I mean when you see the trailer.
Hva har skjedd?
Hæ? Med tidsa dine?
Dere blir større?
Ikke det?
Jo.
Er du gravid, eller? Herregud, kan du slutte, eller? Jeg er ikke gravid. Tiss på den jævla pinnen. Nei! Hva faen?
Hva er det?
Jeg tror jeg har ligget med ham. Husker du den kvelden, eller den helgen, hvor jeg lå med en fyr bare fordi han luktet så godt? Han som luktet smør.
Stygge tegninger, altså.
Hei. Hei. Jeg er gravid.
Shit.
Hæ, hva er det? 6 måneder. Så du sparker den ikke da? Er den syk? Nei, den er ikke syk. Den er bare en fucking jævla sneaky ninja-baby.
Er dette faren min? Seriøst? Har du ligget med han fyren der?
Men så var det du som sa at jeg skulle komme inni der. Jeg kan faen komme i kaffetraktoren der hvis du vil. Bare si det. Kom i kaffetraktoren. Boom, så har jeg kommet opp.
Skal du gi den bort da?
Nei, jeg vil ikke ha noe med deg å gjøre heller. Så vet jeg at du er gravid, da. Det er ikke det første jeg tenker på når jeg ser deg. Det første jeg tenker på er alltid, fy faen, så pen hun er.
Eller jeg vil ikke mot det.
Jeg tror at jeg kunne blitt en god far da. Jeg er sikker på at du hadde blitt en fantastisk mamma, liksom.
Jeg har liksom null lyst til å være mamma.
Okay, I think this film, Ninja Baby, when it comes out later in the year in the US, is going to be a sensation. I'll just point out also that all of these films are either not yet in release in the US or just coming into release. So I think many of them will be getting a lot more attention in the course of the year, but you'll get a chance to see them first in World Film Weeks. Madly in Life is a film from Belgium, and it's a comedic drama about a couple who are planning to have a kid, but their plans are disrupted when the husband's mother begins developing a condition called semantic dementia. It's similar to Alzheimer's, but it affects the frontal lobes and makes the person lose all social inhibitions. The performance of the stages of dementia and how people cope is illuminating and funny at times and very, very moving. The film is brilliantly acted, especially by the actress who plays the mother, Jo Desseur. On to Golden Voices. This is a film from Israel, and it's about 2 Soviet Jews, Victor and Raya, who emigrate to Israel after the collapse of the USSR. They had been golden voices in the old Soviet Union who had dubbed international films into Russian, but their talents are of limited use in Israel. Raya ends up finding a surprising use of her golden voice. And the film is a funny and very original take on the immigrant experience. Let's check it out.
Улыбнись.
Ваше место здесь.
Открываем новую страницу жизни.
ספר לנו, מה עשית היום?
Клёв.
Хотя, конечно, с вашей профессией в Израиле.
Требуются женщины с приятным голосом на высокооплачиваемую работу.
את יודעת מה אנחנו עושות פה.
Певицу ищут. Того, что было, не изменишь. Раньше этого не осознавал.
Тут все дело в терпении.
Журик!
Чего?
Ты не поверишь, кто это. רק אל תגלי לאנשים את הגיל שלך.
Мне 22 года, и я девственница. С вами все в порядке, Серж?
Да, спасибо.
Этот фильм сейчас идет во всех кинотеатрах Израиля.
Это легально?
Мы интеллигентные люди.
אנחנו אנשים אינטליגנטים. זאת אומרת, הם.
Каждый фильм — целый мир. Мы с тобой даем людям возможность посетить эти миры.
Даже не знаешь, как я выгляжу. Ты вообще не знаешь, кто я такая.
Имя, возраст, внешний вид – все это ерунда, суета-сует.
זה רק ביזנס.
Я хотела быть главной героиней, а я даже не второстепенный персонаж. Так. Голос за кадром.
Say that one of the things that's especially pleasurable about this movie, if you're a film buff, are the references to classic films and film directors that are sprinkled throughout the film. Mogul Mowgli is stars one of the most exciting actors working today, Riz Ahmed. Ahmed was nominated for Best Actor last year for the Sound of Metal, and this is a personal project for him. He's British Pakistani, and he worked with a Pakistani American filmmaker, Bassam Tariq, whose first feature this is. Riz Ahmed plays a rap musician, which he actually is in real life, in addition to being an actor. And in the course of the film, he's struck down by an illness on the cusp of his big break, which forces him to reconnect with his Pakistani family and his past. Lazu is actually the first film we've shown in World Film Week from the country of Malta, which is the fourth smallest country in the world. It's an island between southern Italy and Libya. It's a film that's in the neo-realist tradition of film like The Bicycle Thief. If you're not familiar with the neo-realist genre, I'm teaching a class on the subject in the AIFF Film Center in October. Anyway, this film follows a struggling Maltese fisherman on the edge of poverty whose livelihood is endangered when his boat springs a leak, and he's gradually drawn into an illegal black market fishing operation. This too is a film that's not yet released. Kino Releasing is going to put it out in a couple of months. And Hive. Hive is a film that is a first feature, again, by a Kosovo director, Bjerta Bosholi. This film won 3 awards at the Sundance Film Festival in January. It won the Audience Award, the Directing Award, and the World Cinema Grand Jury Prize. It's a true story about a woman named Farja, who is part of a community of women who lost their husbands in the war in Kosovo. Farja leads these women in starting a business selling a local delicacy so they can support themselves, but they have to fight the patriarchs of the village.
Qështu mas letje e gjej magimin. Jam të dashtë me nis një punë me krejt gratë e krushës.
Qysh do në me këshyrën si një djalin tëm kur të kthehet?
Nëse kthehet. Jetu po ëndra shumë. Nështë ta o mire dhe ti mja nisë mi mësu do sene.
Apo menoni që mundet me ecë puna mirë që shtua?
Na I varke na maru të njëtën. Që të punë di me kry mas mire.
Se më I skallzove, që është qa që I hjeshëm?
Shumë I bre.
Kur do të pushoj ma kjo ka.
Krejt petin që pe gra kerrit. Që po punon shehër.
Dalsh, fare, dalsh! 100 herë të kom thonë, çka do që të bëjsh ti, e rrok krejt familjen.
Okay, so that was the last of the virtual films we're showing. Torn is the film that we are going to be showing outdoors in Lithia Park on September 18th in the Butler Pavilion. And we're going to be using the new outdoor equipment that the blow-up screen that we acquired with the help of Travel Oregon and that we used during our Live and Outdoors Festival in June. There's only 200 seats available, so I suggest you order tickets soon for that. Torn is a film kind of like last year's Free Solo about extreme climbing and its risks and rewards. It's about the legendary mountain climber Alex Lowe and his close friend and climbing partner, another legendary climber, Conrad Anker. Anker married Alex Lowe's wife a year after Alex was killed and Conrad survived an avalanche in Tibet. The film, directed by Alex Lowe's son, Max, who is a National Geographic explorer, delves into the tense family dynamics as well as the climbing. There's footage of Alex and Conrad's fatal climb up Mount Shishapangma, as well as the return trip Conrad and Max and their family make up the mountain when Alex's remains are found there. Also add that this film is going to be accompanied by the short film Way to Go by Kathy Roselli, who is a local filmmaker, actually the winner of our Lee Fuchsman Award last year, and it's about the composting toilet on the top of Mount Shasta. So that's it for this year's World Film Weeks. But just let me point out some guidelines. You can go to our website starting tonight and see the full program. ashlandfilm.org is our site, and it'll take you to the Eventive site where we have all the trailers, some of what I showed you and trailers that I didn't show you, as well as blurbs about the film and other links. Let me say that all of the films that we are showing on Eventive are going to, two of them are just showing for one day, that's Little Girl and Golden Voices, but most are playing from 2 to 7 days each during the September 17th to 30th period. And several will be accompanied by filmmaker Q&As. I just want to point out also that individual tickets are $10 each, although $2 off for members and seniors and students and those experiencing financial hardship. I want to recommend that you see as many as you can, and that you can get a discount by ordering a 7-film passport, which is available for actually, you'll have to read about the price. I forgot to look that up, but it's available for 7 films at a discount. And again, there's a discount rate if you're a senior or a student. All proceeds from these events benefit the nonprofit Ashland Independent Film Festival and Coming Attractions Theaters. So enjoy World Film Weeks, go to the site, find out more, and I'll see you at the movies.